Hello there. Welcome to this episode of Force Ghost Conversations. This is your host, Anthony King, and this week I'm going to discuss the third episode from the Book of Boba Fett titled The Streets of Mos Espa. Before we get started, I'm inviting you to join the conversation with us. We can be found on Twitter at Force Ghost Pod. You can follow our page on Facebook, and you can even follow us now on Instagram at Force Ghost Conversations. We look forward to connecting with you on those platforms, and also please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your listening site of choice. Without further ado, it's time to gather around the campfire for some Force Ghost Conversations. Okay, everyone, we are back for another episode of Force Ghost Conversations, and as I alluded in the preamble, we're eventually going to discuss episode 3 from the Book of Boba Fett, an episode that is really awesome and continues the great work that has been done on this series so far. But before we get into that, let's break down some Star Wars news in a segment I love to call Cloud City Gossip. So first, I wanted to personally congratulate George Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy for receiving the 2022 Milestone Award from the Producers Guild of America. Whoop, 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 whoop. This award is being given for their unparalleled contributions to the film industry, both individually and collaboratively through Lucasfilm. A formal ceremony to bestow this award will take place on March 19th. So our personal congratulations from Force Ghost Conversations to both the maker and the continuation, the person who's continued Lucasfilm and the Star Wars story and all other Lucasfilm properties to this point. They've done fantastic work, and just over the course of their career, both George and Kathleen have done amazing work. So congrats to both of them. Also, some new concept art was showcased this week in promotion for the Art of the Mandalorian Season 2 book, which will come out on February 15th. This artwork features some crate dragons, Ahsoka Tano, and Luke Skywalker. You can check out the images yourself on StarWars.com right now. In addition, tickets will be going on sale very soon for the D23 Expo starting on January 20th. Taking place from September 9th through the 11th, this convention is the ultimate Disney fan event. It will feature news, announcements, and so much more from the entire world of Disney properties, whether it be animation, Pixar, Marvel, and even Star Wars. If recent memory serves correct, they have always announced some big Star Wars news at this program, so get your tickets now, if you're interested. The convention will also take place in Anaheim, which is at the same location where Star Wars Celebration will be this May. And then finally, as a friendly reminder, the Book of Boba Fett will be premiering new episodes each Wednesday for the next couple of weeks. So, as you can probably assume, we're going to be talking about it here next week, just as much as we've been doing the last couple of weeks here. So be sure to check it out, support this new Star Wars content, and then we hope that you will join us here on Force Ghost Conversations as we break down the entire season. And after this short break here, we'll be back with our main discussion on the Book of Boba Fett, Episode 3. Be right back. All right, friends, we're back, and it is time for our main topic for today, the discussion of Boba Fett's third episode. So if you have not seen the episode, go check it out now, then come right back to this podcast. That is a wonderful episode, so do yourself the favor of watching it first and then coming here to geek out with all of us here. So spoiler warning ahead for the Book of Boba Fett. Okay, the episode is titled The Streets of Mos Espa, which is written by Jon Favreau and is directed by Robert Rodriguez, who also directed the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And I've been doing this kind of this to start thing here where I look at the title of the episode. The first episode was called Stranger in a Strange Land. The second episode was called The Tribes of Tatooine. And now The Streets of Mos Espa is also another apt title, as most of the episode, frankly, from what I would say, takes place at a street level, right? we learn more about the everyday tactics of life on Tatooine and survival, as well as, quite honestly, literally roaming the streets of Mos Espa. So it's really, it just makes sense, right? From every type of, literally, metaphorically, physically, it makes sense as a title. Come on now. So for canon junkies out there who may not know, Mos Espa is actually the town where Anakin is found in Episode 1. It's where the pod race takes place, all that stuff. So if you're wondering, like, why is the city so important? Where has it popped up ever again? Go watch The Phantom Menace. You'll see it all over the place there. I mean, that's the town that they basically visit on Tatooine. So if you're wondering why the city, why not Mos Eisley, which is a different city, it's where they go in Episode 4, A New Hope. You actually see a little Mos Eisley here, so just keep in mind those are two separate cities, folks. So it's always fun for that. So the episode actually starts with a fun callback to a very side character in Return of the Jedi. You got a Bomar monk. I know this is in the trailer, and people were geeking out about what it could mean and all that stuff. I had a feeling it was probably just going to be like a little one-off thing, just as a little fun nod, because he's just in Jabba's palace, or this. What if it's the same Bomar monk that is just a character that was in the side at Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. So I mean, just a little fun callback here. They've been doing a great job throughout the course of this episode, this series so far, as well as The Mandalorian, of just kind of showcasing those smaller background characters in the original trilogy that are now getting their due in terms of a modern live action sense, which is great. And then there's this great back and forth that 8D8 has been having with Boba throughout the course of the series, but particularly in this episode when he's explaining kind of how the workings of Mos Espa is, right? I like how he was afraid of saying Jabba's name to Boba in the sequence. And it's very much like a Voldemort esque appeal to me, since it just really adds a different detail to the scene. 88 is also voiced by Matt Berry, which has been such a standout for me, breathing new life into this character, as he's one of my favorite characters currently on TV right now in a show called What We Do in the Shadows, which is hysterical, absolutely hysterical. So he's just got such a recognizable voice that it's doing a great job, guys. Also, 88. Another side character in Return of the Jedi that basically has like maybe 3 seconds of screen time, and now he's getting his due. Let's just say that for sure. So in the episode, we get a little more information about what I would say is a very fragile alliance that holds Mos Espa together. Bib Fortuna was not doing such a great job, clearly, based off of this description of keeping the peace and maintaining his tribute from all the individuals here that are at play at Mos Espa. And this is really when we get back to the callback in episode 2, where the mayor Mokshaiz said, it's difficult to run a family, and they're considering this Boba's the head of this group of families, right? And it's just interesting to look at it from that point of view, and what does that mean for how Boba's going to run things? Or it just might be semantics. I don't know yet. So what we learned is that Mos Espa was divided among three families, and I paused the episode and I had subtitles on specifically so I could write down what all the three families were and what their areas were, just for future reference, because it may come up again. It may not come up again. I have a feeling that it will, though. So the Trandoshans took the city center, the Aqualish have the workers district, and the Klatooinians took the starport and upper sprawl. And then you must line the pockets of the mayor too. And everyone has been waiting to see what kind of leader Boba will be. So time will tell on that issue. But I have a sense that Boba is going to be going to try and rule with respect, like he keeps saying here. But you're going to have to show a little bit of force from time to time. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the season. But obviously, there's still some questions as to who sent the assassins. And as they clearly depict here, it obviously wasn't the mayor. So they got to figure out who sent these assassins. I think they know, and they're alluding to this throughout the course of the episode, is that there are some bigger work and bigger hands in play here that just haven't been revealed to us quite yet. So there's this character that pops up that is trying to give a petition on some kids stealing his water. He's a moisture farmer, uh, deal broker between he basically the middleman. He sells the water that moisture farmers collect. And this guy is it's called Lorth Appeal in Star Wars, but the actor is Stephen Root, who a lot of people know from the movie like Office Space and various other things. But I know him personally from a film called Dodgeball, an underdog story. But you might know it. It has Vince Vaughn. It has Ben Stiller. It is absolutely hysterical. I think I've probably seen it maybe more than any other film ever. Uh, and he plays a character called Gordon. They call him Gordo. And he actually has a great scene where he's kind of like in the movie in Dodgeball, where he's all by himself, and he just has to find his inner rage within him. He's like 1-on-5 or something like that, and he's not obviously the best dodgeball player, and he somehow turns it around and defeats the team single-handedly. And I personally have a story similar to that. Some of you probably don't know, I am a dodgeball champion, a part of the 2-time champion Black Mamba team. Shout out to the Black Mambas. And we 2-time champ at both the E-Town dodgeball tournament and the mini-thon tournament. So I have the trophies to prove it. I am a dodgeball champion. And similar story happened to me. It was basically a 1-on-5 deal. If we lost this game, we were out. And I turned it around. I beat everyone personally. I didn't catch a ball to bring someone back in. I was in the moment. I was in the zone. I took them all out. Anyways, that was a quick aside. I hope you all enjoyed that little story there. But he plays Lord of the Peel, and he's basically a watermonger. And he says that the streets have turned to chaos, and there's disrespect towards Lord Fett. And obviously, this is going to be news to Boba. I don't see why he would have any reason to believe otherwise. But it's just the inner workings of what does it mean to be an everyday crime lord and daimyo. So of course, Boba he learns that there's this gang of the people that stole this water here, and this is really the central element of the story here. Is this gang is like half man, half machine, and it's very interesting how they've modified themselves willingly with cybernetic enhancements. And from what I'm seeing online, a lot of discussion is telling me that they're inspired by what would be called mod culture. But to me personally, they remind me a lot of American Graffiti and the biker hot rod gangs that inspired George Lucas back in the day to even create Star Wars. So Boba, of course, checks out this group. Tries to get to the bottom of things here, and they tell him, you got to pay your water, and he learns, of course, that the guy is charging like 3 or 4 times the rate for water, which is exuberant amounts, and Boba pays their debts, and he basically sees the gang as an opportunity, which I like here. Boba needs more strength and support and to help his cause. I keep saying that a war is coming, and it's definitely coming, and he's going to need more resources than just him, Fennec Shan, and 2 Gamorrean guards and 8D8. He's going to need some more resources to protect his claim, obviously. So later on, we get some more flashback sequences from Boba while he's in his back-to-tank healing again. We keep seeing this Camino sequence pop up, and you see a little bit of Daniel Logan reflecting as he sees his father Jango Fett leave Camino. Maybe he's going off on some mission. Maybe he's hired by the he's hired to kill Padme, like we've seen in episode 2. Maybe he's going to go meet somebody. I don't know. I have to believe that there is more to be explored here at this point, since it has come up in each of the episodes so far. And I'm very excited to see where that plays off. I don't really have any speculation as to where it goes, but obviously I think if I have a sense of who Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are as storytellers, they're not going to keep teasing this without bringing it up again. And with this, we actually get some more time with the Tusken group, of course, which is always a good thing. And when he goes to Mos Eisley, there's some great callbacks to The Mandalorian. So it gives you kind of a sense of where we're at in time. Obviously, this is a post-Return of the Jedi time, but we're getting a little bit closer to that Mandalorian timeline here, which is 4 years after Return of the Jedi. I believe so. Something like that. And we get to, so you see, of course, you obviously see the Stormtrooper helmets going up on pikes. And then you see a little Pelimoto in the background. It's just some fun callbacks here. I thought it was just neat. I pointed out, it's like, oh, look, Pelimoto, Mandalorian stuff, and the pit droids, and all that fun stuff. And with that, we learn Boba is going to go check in on the Pikes at the end of episode 2. If you recall, Boba sent they stopped the train, and Boba, out of mercy, gave the Pikes, the surviving Pikes, one of those melon things of milk, and black melon, I believe they're called. Yep, that. See, I don't jog my own memory, folks. He gave him a black melon here, and he told him to walk single file line. They'll get there. You know, the Tuskens survive off of this. You'll be able to get there, and if you don't, you don't. Right? Your mercy. The fact that you have a chance is our mercy. And so Boba's checking in on this to ensure that they're going to get paid tribute for that land, for the safety. They have a claim to it, and you learn that the Pikes are in league with what they would call the Kintan Striders. They also call them the Nikto Sand Riders. I'm just going to call them the Speeder Bike Gang. So that's what I'm going to call them from henceforth, because they use all 3 names. I wonder what Boba's plan for this. Boba says he'll take care of it, and I wonder what his plan was for them, to take them out. I sadly will never know this, frankly, because unfortunately, when Boba gets back to the Tusken group, they've all been decimated. The village has been ransacked. They're all dead, as far as we know, and it's just a really somber moment. It's so sad to see this group just being wiped out by this entire group. And obviously, it was the speeder bike group that did it, as we know it from the symbol that they used. But it's just so disheartening and tragic. I've really grown to appreciate these characters, and just it's been fantastic to see from their point of view, just learning more about their culture and society and what it means to be a Tusken. So it's just things that we never knew in 1977 when Star Wars first came out, of course, and we only get from one point of view, and now you get from the other side. So it helps you get a more larger worldview and become more empathetic to their cause. So the question is, did the Pikes tip them off? Was this action just in retaliation for Boba's actions at Tosche Station from episode 2? I do appreciate that. I assume we'll find out. Boba's kind of walking off into the sunset here with a bantha. Boba has a somber moment, and he strides off into the sands of the Dune Sea. But I wonder what his next move will be here, and I'm very curious to see what happens to that. But literally no moments left of remorse, remembrance, what have you, as when Boba is literally forced out of the bacta tank by Black Chrysanthemum. And wow, it is great to see a Wookiee unhinged, is what I'm actually going to define this as a Wookiee unhinged. And we don't really see that too much often in Star Wars. I know they tease all the time about Wookiees being able to rip arms out of sockets and stuff like that, but you don't really see Chewie doing that, right? I mean, of course, you see him physically do it in Solo a little bit here, but and Solo is probably his most brutal film, right, in terms of like physical action. But in terms of the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, you only really have Chewbacca to go off of here. And for better or for worse, it is still a kid's movie, and he's one of the main characters, and you just don't want to see him ripping people's arms out of their sockets all the time. We get to see a Wookiee unhinged, and it is really great to see that. And but there's really literally nothing to hold back Chrysanthemum, and it's just interesting to see what actually entails a Wookiee who is on a mission to kill. And obviously the investment with the street gang has already paid off as they come to Boba's aid and help him in this time of absolute crisis. And eventually they're able to trap Black Chrysanthemum into the underground jail, basically, where if there were a Rancor, which there may or may not be a Rancor popping up later in this series, in this episode, even as I'm alluding to here, hint, hint, wink, wink. They trap him in there, and of course there's a wounded Gamorrean guard from the little skirmish that took place in the palace. And I just really liked how Boba said that they can put the wounded Gamorrean guard into his own personal bacta tank to heal. It shows great leadership and builds strength among the team, that they can trust their leader to look out for their best interests, and it'll help create this greater camaraderie amongst each other. So I think it was just a smart leadership play by Boba in that moment. And then we see this wonderful feast that Boba had prepared. He actually didn't personally do the preparing, but it's a long table. That's got to be at least a 12, 15-foot table of nothing but great snacks, food, what have you. And obviously you see a droid bringing all the dishes over, and I have to assume that he cooked them all. So I love this feast, but I really want to know what and how that droid cooked all these dishes. I think that's a side story that I really want told through some means, whether it be a comic, a novel, a short story. Give me more. So then we get to notice that the twins have come right back to them. The twins obviously being the Hutts that have laid claim to this land. And they note that they're leaving. They said, sorry for sending Black Chrysanthemum. We sent here to kill you. We didn't mean to do that. Well, they did mean to do it, but they there are no hard feelings. We're moving on. But it's interesting that they note like the Pikes have laid claim to this land. And it's interesting how much they fear. Well, I don't know if they maintain the. I guess they do, or they allude to it. They allude that the mayor has promised claim. Okay, that's it. Sorry, folks. They note that the mayor has laid claim, and they know who it is. Obviously, on the other end, and that's why they're leading it. And of course, spoiler alert, you find out it's the Pikes. So I'm just saying at this point in time, it's interesting as to how much they fear the Pikes. And they say that the war is bad for business, but I would honestly imagine that they would want to stay out, and let Boba versus the Pikes happen, and then come back to fight the winner. So they're saying enough. We're going back to Nal Hutta, and they do give Boba the gift of a Rancor, though, which is awesome. I alluded to this maybe a minute ago, but we got a Rancor back in Jabba's palace, now Boba's palace, and that's awesome. I hope we get to see him in full live action. They're obviously teasing it. The Rancor looks amazing in the volume technology, whether it be CGI, whether it be a big puppet, who knows? It looks great. And we honestly it's a fantastic addition to the Star Wars universe. We finally get Danny Trejo, too. I know him and Robert Rodriguez have a lot of connectivity throughout their work, going back all the way. And getting me in Star Wars as the Rancor Keeper is pretty awesome, too. So I hope he continues to appear in future episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Black Chrysanthemum 2 is a tribute, but Boba lets him go, and I hope that he will return in a later episode. After that, we get a little more time with the Rancor. Obviously, they take him down to his chambers, and we learn that Rancor are emotionally complex creatures, as the Keeper once said. I like how it imprints on the human that it first sees. That's pretty cool, and it's going to be Boba, of course. And if you learn that this one is just a calf, so it's only going to get bigger, ladies and gentlemen. That's really neat too. And we get this fun little nod through canon that they say the Witches of Dathomir, aka the Night Sisters, rode Rancors through the forest, which is really, really neat. And then obviously Boba says, I want to ride it. And he says he's ridden beast 10 times its size, which is a fun nod to the holiday special, as some would say, that little animated short that is a part of that. So I just like how Boba and the Rancor are able to make a connection so quickly. It's almost like an old man and his dog, if you want to look at it from that Boba point of view, and just the quick connection that they are able to create. But I honestly, Boba better be riding this Rancor by the end of the season. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. They teased it so much in this episode so far, and it'd be quite a tease if they don't. So that'd be wild. That'd be wild. I want to see this happen now. 88 disrupts this little interaction that they're having with the Rancor, noting that the mayor's office is going to be busy because they want to have a meeting with the mayor. Of course, they were told this information that the mayor has promised this land to another, and laid claim to this property, this daimyo ship, whatever you want to call it, and they're going to reach out to the mayor's office for comment here. But the mayor's office come back and says he's busy for the next 20 days. And it is a typical public official. I'm studying public administration. I love that he's given him the runaround again here. But Boba obviously does not wait for an appointment, and rightfully so. He's the daimyo. He's going to take the action and of whatever he needs. He's going to make it happen. And I've seen this discourse on the internet here about the biker gang, not the speeder bike gang, but this is like the the gang that Boba hired to be his support. And I see that they've got different colors. I love the different colors. I think that's great. It is exactly what Star Wars needs. It's exactly what Star Wars it fits in the Star Wars universe. Don't go get me wrong at all here. It's wonderful. I like that they're in addition to the Star Wars universe. Let it be. That's basically what I'm saying. And we get more time again with the mayor's major domo. This guy is a true gift. This guy is excellent. I like how no one tries to stop Boba though when he goes back into the mayor's office, and they just keep kind of moseying about their day. And we get this really great street chase sequence as the major domo is like, I'm getting out of here. I don't know. I don't want to tell them where the mayor is at. He doesn't have the gusto to come after me. I know these streets better than anyone else. And of course, call back to the title here, the streets of Mos Espa, but we get literally a street chase sequence, which is really cool, I think. I like seeing all the callbacks to other things in Star Wars that are kind of just fun Easter eggs. So I'm going to point them out here. I like seeing obviously the protocol droid, aka what the C-3PO is. There's a droid that is wheeling people around, kind of like a little taxi service, similar to what Anakin and Padme use in Episode 2 when they go hunt down Watto. You see a pit droid from a pod race. The fun Ralph McQuarrie concept art of Jabba's palace is seen here, and obviously one of the speeder people go through it. But it's just fun to see that take place there. And of course, we get a little Melu run from Star Wars Rebels. The little fruit that Kanan, not Kanan, but Ezra and Zeb are sent to go find on a wild goose hunt chase. So great little connections here all across the vastness that is the Star Wars galaxy in this one episode here. And I think it's really cool to see a little bit of the cybernetic enhancements that were alluded to by the Watermonger early on for some of the group. The one guy basically had an extended leg jolt bolt type of device. That was really neat. The other guy basically had a flamethrower basically in the palm of his hand, and I thought those would be pretty useful. So I hope to see that we get to see a little bit more of the what the enhancements that the other group has. I know the guy has it's like an eye, basically like a telescope in a way. He's able to do like a lot of what would you say, like quick math and digital recognition, all that stuff, and zooming in. He's basically a walking telescope with that thing. So basically, once the major domo is cornered, then we get the news that the mayor is working with the Pike Syndicate, and then the picture cuts to a Starliner landing with a large group of Pikes walking onto the grounds of Mos Espa. So the question is, honestly, where do we go next with this series? And Fennec Shan says the Pikes are going to war. Boba says, then we will be ready. And that is where we're heading, ladies and gentlemen. This is where these 3 episodes have been leading to. The rest of the season, it's 7 episodes. So it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be an all-out war, and I would expect that definitely. It's going to be, if Boba's going to protect his claim, this is the first wave, as they say. They're going to keep coming. He's going to need to expand his forces. They're going to keep brawling throughout the streets. Poor Mos Espa and the sands of Tatooine are going to get... there's going to be a lot of action taking place over the next course of episodes, so I'll be very intrigued to see how all that plays out. And obviously, the key leaders and players are starting to take their positions. The dominoes are going to start collapsing, and I cannot wait for next week. Ladies and gentlemen, this show keeps delivering, in my opinion, and showcasing new avenues and methods of storytelling that I was previously not expecting from Star Wars. So kudos to the creative team and all involved. I obviously love this episode. I thought it was a fantastic bit of storytelling, a lot of heart, a lot of tragedy, a lot of sincerity. There's a lot to take from this, and there's a lot of it's almost like a very good build-up episode. So I'd anticipate that maybe next week and the weeks beyond that we're going to get a lot of in-your-face, in-the-ground action sequences and what have you as the Pikes now start to lay their claim to this land, and you're going to see Boba try and run this quote-unquote family that he's got, both in his own palace and trying to maintain the tribute as daimyo. So we're going to get a little bit of this all. We're going to get a little Godfather. We're going to get a little Game of Thrones here. It's going to be excellent. I'm very excited to see where all this is going to go. But I want to know what you all think. Reach out to us on our social media channels. We're Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course. And let us know what you think. I want to know what you thought about this episode. And that's all that I have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all again so much for listening to this episode of Force Ghost Conversations. I really appreciate it. And I just really have been appreciating all the great engagement we've been getting on our social channels and how the word has been spreading about our wonderful community here. So we just want to keep that growing. So tell your friends about us, share the link with somebody, and let us know what you think. Leave us a rate review. And guess what, folks? We'll be back next week, same time, same place, with a new episode discussing episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. And we got some big things coming for this show, so just be on the lookout for that. More details will come as soon as I'm able to provide them then. But just get ready for all that. Big things are coming. Thank you so much again for listening. May the Force be with you. Take care, everyone.